Rich Lowry, editor-in-chief of National Review, and Tammy Bruce, Fox News contributor. Tammy, welcome back. We should be up there. I mean, we could still get in.
There's a Yankee game earlier tonight.
The Yanks playing?
We could have gone. They already played. We could have gone to the Yankee game and straight to the rally.
See?
But you have a TV show to do.
45,000 people can spill over from Yankee Stadium into Corona Park. My saintly wife's art studio is right there, right next to that. Anyway, Tammy, it's a shot across the bow. It's not just about New York. This is a national shot across Joe Biden's bow, I think.
Well, it is, and you can look at both campaigns. You've got Joe Biden going to certain states, blue states, to try to maintain them, shore up the base. And here's Donald Trump going to some place. It's like Star Trek, where Republican man has never gone before, except for Reagan. And this is what I think really, resonated in 2016, when Trump told Black Americans in particular, what do you have to lose? And the problem with the Republicans is there has been generally an abandonment of certain areas and cities and states to the Democrats, presuming they could never be won. That's an attitude that it's horrible, it is incorrect, and people not only want a choice, but they want to know, they want to have some kind of a symbol that you are genuinely interested in them, because that's what it's going to take to get this country back on her feet. This is the kind of move that does that. It also signals to the rest of the country the strength of Trump, the fact that he is once again looking to expand not just his coalition, but the American coalition. Who can we all relate to? That all of us could be at that rally and be brothers and sisters together in that space.
It's kind of a unity coalition, which is a very good slogan of his. Rich Lowry is interesting. I don't know if Mr. Trump's going to carry New York or not. I don't know. I'm not smart enough to know. But he has a lot in common with Reagan's coalition. One of the things overlooked in the Trump policy messaging is his insistence that we revitalize cities. I mean, he talks about it all the time, never gets much play, but it's true. He talks about, yes, lower taxes, deregulation of the minority-owned businesses. He talks about enterprise zones. That was a very big deal in his first term. He'd love to expand it in his second term. He also talks about school choice. And, of course,
crime.
Bringing back crime, law, and order.
Because you can't have thriving cities with high levels of crime. And what's been happening, and these, I think, what we're seeing in the polling is potential Trump voters, right, among Latinos and Black voters. He's got to go out and get them. He has to do events like this. They got to do the work to get out the vote and all the rest of it. But this is a reaction against the left. I think if you took the average Latino male and said, do you agree with the traditional FDR Democrat more or Larry Kudlow more? They're probably with the FDR Democrat.
No,
are you with the woke Democrat or are you with Larry Kudlow?
Whoa.
They're with Larry Kudlow, right? And Trump also, there's this residual kind of cultural affiliation with Democrats among a lot of these voters. Trump kind of transcends the Republican-Democrat thing. It's not like being for a usual Republican because his own personal brand is so strong. And he and his predilections and attitudes probably has more in common with the average Latino male than a member of the Hispanic caucus.
Listen, he was, I mean, in fairness, you go back in time, Mr. Trump started out as a Queens construction worker, okay, in his father's business. I don't deny it. But the fact is, he was on the construction crews in Queens. And to some extent, to his credit, and I think to the point of where people can identify with him, he still has a lot of Queens in him, and you see that all the time. And I think people will identify that. Queens is not so far from the Bronx, Tammy Bruce.
Right, and this is why that guy who'd never done politics before, he goes to Washington, being able to handle what it is they're throwing at him, because he's dealt with New York his entire life. It requires you, it pushes you into dealing with everyone, in trying to understand everyone, at least negotiating with, finding out what matters to people, and being passionate enough about it to where it doesn't bore you, you care about that, it excites you. That's the nature of Donald Trump, which they still don't understand. He's not a guy who's changing from a primary campaign to a general campaign. What do the people want? Look at his finger, looking for the polls, right, where the wind is. He's just himself. To this day, he's the same guy that came down the escalator. So you know what you're going to get. So none of this is a surprise, except, of course, for the left, who like to pretend and live in
wish. And the border is also a huge part of this, because traditionally Latinos are generally pro-immigration. There is a CBS poll of Arizona, showed Trump ahead by 5 points this weekend, asked, are recent immigrants better for the country or worse for the country. And Latino voters are saying they're worse because they're bringing chaos. No one knows who they are. Their family members waited in line and came the right way. What right do these people have just to walk into the country? And that obviously plays into a core Trump strength.
And, you know, it's just the last quick thought. You can bottle him up in a courtroom like they have, and Lord knows they're going to try to do it again. But Trump makes the best of it. I mean, so he's having a rally in Crotona Park, Bronx, South Bronx. It's becoming a national rally, okay? Yeah. People all over the country, by the end of tonight, are going to know where Corona Park actually is in the South Bronx. I mean, I think that's pretty interesting stuff.
Well, and it speaks to it speaks to who Trump is, that he's not looking and dealing with all of this, whereas you saw everyone else generally who was targeted shrinking back, going into a corner. The system can destroy you, and it tries to, and sometimes it does. Trump is got something else that interests him beyond himself, and that's what people see every day, whether he's in court or at a park in the Bronx.
Next week, you shoot a live show on the South Bronx, Larry.
Yeah, I wanted to go today. They wouldn't let me out of here. And Yankee Stadium's just around the corner. Anyway, Rich Lowry, thank you. Tammy, Bruce, we appreciate it very, very much.